Hello, Mr. Chia here again. Today I'd like to talk about standard costing. Now basically standard costing is used in the factory environment. In other words, in producing physical items. It's a bit difficult to do standard costing for service related products. Okay, standard costing is normally used for making physical product. So now what is standard costing? The standard cost to make a product, one quantity. So what are the costs? Maybe for example, you have a direct labor, direct material, variable overheads. Now these three costs varies with the quantity output. Okay, these three are variable costs. I repeat, the direct labor cost, the direct material cost, the direct variable overhead cost. Now, you also would have certain costs which are indirect, which are not related to production quantity output. This will be the indirect material cost, indirect labor cost, and indirect overheads. So when you combine the various direct costs, the three direct costs with the three indirect costs, that total will be the total cost to make one product at standard cost. Now how do you determine the standard cost? Management must decide together with engineers, okay, how much is the labor needed, or work together with the production and the purchasing department, what are the material, direct material costs involved, and so forth. Now once the standard has been set, then when we do actual, we can compare the actual direct material with the standard direct material. Any variance we have to investigate. Same, we can compute the actual labor cost, compare with the standard labor cost. Any variances should be investigated. Same thing as the overhead side. Now why do we want to calculate variance? That is to show how much our actual cost deviating from our standard, so that we know where to take action. Now the only problem is, what happens if the standard cost was set up wrongly? Now how do you know the standard cost is set up wrongly? If you see consistently there's a very big variance, we may have to investigate our standard cost. Did we set our standard cost wrongly? And if the standard cost was set correctly, and therefore when they compare with actual, and there's a lot of unfavorable variance, we need to investigate, therefore we can take action, and then after the action has been taken, hopefully these variances will not appear again. In other words, standard cost is like a guide for management to see how much the actual is deviating from what we think it should be the standard. Thank you very much.